Number 16. I'm really knocking them out, these videos today. This third, maybe fourth one. Some of them were very short. So this is number 16 video in my hit parade. And I'll put on my teaching hat. Kind of, well, whatever, you know. And we're going to get into this. I'm going to try not to get off path. Now, what is this? This is simply an analogy in picture form of the complication of the Illuminati in this world. Okay, the Illuminati in this world has a lot of branches, more than there are spokes in this photograph, or this printout. More than probably the penny farthing bike behind me, that wheel, that black one, over my right shoulder. All the spokes in that penny farthing big wheel bike there is a better representation of how complicated this world of ours is. And it's complicated by lies, manipulation. See, the boss of this world under God, and it's usurped. God's allowing it, but the underboss, prince prince of the air, and the prince of this world is Lucifer, and God is permitting him to have a great deal of leeway, and he keeps a loose chain on Satan, but Satan can't do many things that we don't know, and he can never touch a Christian person without going through as they say, the throne room of God. And because we're starting at the top, I'll work on this a little bit to develop this point. Satan, we're told in the Bible that when Satan came to God, God bragged a little bit about Job, about his servant Job. Have you seen him there, buddy boy? He says to Satan. And figuratively, of course. And Satan goes, hey, I'll tell you what. He loves you and is obedient to you because you just keep giving him all these wonderful gifts. And, well, that's part of our love for God. But as it matures, it goes far beyond that because we intrinsically recognize who God is. And God is so lovely, so much love, that, turn this a little bit more towards me, so much love that we simply love him. Well, I'll use an analogy for our love for God that's not connected to the blessings and protection he affords us as Christians, which is 100%, tell you the truth. And once you get born again, you're out of jeopardy. Now, you can physically die, get beat up, tortured, but I mean, compared to eternity, that's nothing. Staying on track now, trying to pull myself back in. Come on, Ken. Well, so anyway, the book out of the Bible called Job, J-O-B, some call it Job, but it is spelled that way, is about a man being tested by Satan to prove that he loves God, that a human being, even before Christ, can love God to the point where it doesn't matter what his earthly circumstances turn out to be, develop to be, or are. So the point of it is I'm dealing with is how much pain and suffering, how much attack can Satan give to a saint, someone who's put aside for salvation, predestined? Well, only as much as God will permit. So Satan goes through steps of harming him, Job. But God says, you can do that, but no more. And no more, not further, and nothing extra. And so Satan goes out, kills his family, burns his barns. So he's basically, I imagine back, Job probably had half a dozen children. and they were gathered in one place in the Bible narrative, and they all died. And I believe he lost all his financial ground, so he lost all his money, make it simple. And he still didn't break. He still loved God and honored God, even with all those hardships. And then Satan says, well, you know what? If he gets physically sick, then he'll curse you to your face. And God says, you can give him, but you can give him, an illness and things, but you're not allowed to kill him. And so Satan went out and he gave boils to Job. And it says later on, Job was sitting in a pile of broken pottery, garbage back then, just things that were discarded that were no further use, and he was scraping his boils and skins with a piece of sharp broken pottery. I have a knife here, of course. And he still didn't break. So what do we learn from that? We learned that Satan is not allowed to touch a saint without first getting permission at the throne room of God. And so that's us today. Okay? And now there is a difference between people that are going to be saved, people that are not. There's something called predestination and election, and free will. Well, predestination, election, same thing. Free will. We will not get into it right now, but those that are of the elect, even people that haven't come to Christ now, hope some of you out there will come to Christ in any way possible. Someone else, some other bunch of people, individuals, bringing it to you, or me. I'm here. That's what I'm here for. I'm the drop in the bucket that in the ocean that makes the ocean. Helps make fill the ocean. A drop of water. Okay, but getting back on this guy, on this wheel, this Illuminati, we started at Satan. Okay, under him, he has selected people. Now, I do believe firmly that people in the Bible, people have been possessed, not obsessed. And, we got a lot of bad biblical actors that are recorded in the Bible that were obsessed by Lucifer. Pharaoh, perhaps, I don't think it definitively says if he was possessed, like full-time possessed, or obsessed, just a stupid person put in the way for God then to show his might in delivering Israel out of Egypt. But some of these Illuminatis, at this late date, I feel sure, are demons or fallen angels inside human bodies. That's what it happened in the Bible. Jesus, same, cast out demons. They were in these human beings' bodies. And why should it change today? The cross didn't stop that. The cross gave power to believers to cast out and to take authority over demons, certainly. Fallen angels, I would imagine. Satan had to go to God over Job. Fallen angels that are more powerful than demons, much more, so higher authority too. They got to go to God and say, yeah, I want to kick Ken in the head. Well, no. However, my own personal background is that, and I had to learn this because I couldn't quite understand why everything that I touched turned into bad things, garbage, and friendships, uh, whatever, health things. Well, here I am. Job had lost his family, lost his whole family, and then ended up with boils that he had to scrape. I'm sure it's because they itched. And his wife gave him a lot of grief and said, yeah, Job's own wife, while he's going through this, his wife goes, hey, curse God and die. Don't you? Won't you? Won't you, my husband, Job? Just curse God and die. Get it over with. Well, that's not a very sympathetic helpmate, is it? Wife. And then Job had 3 friends that gave him friendly advice and what they thought was insight. They're 3 different characters, and they're very interesting to read and study because they come with different points of view. But I haven't read Job for like a million years, but I have read the whole Bible. It took me over a year to read the whole Bible, maybe 2 years. I think it was a year, because I read it carefully. Genesis through Revelation. But anyway, one of his friends, at least, Job's friends, counselors, blamed Job, said, you probably deserve what you're getting. And sort of accusations and how dare you speak for God? What do you think you are? That sort of thing. Well, I'm going to compare that Job to me, or me to Job. Not so much suffering, but very similar. Now, Job lost his family. I've lost my whole family. Okay, I had 2 children, and Job lost his family to death. Okay, so I lost a daughter to suicide, to death, and I lost my son, and the remaining 5 grandchildren. Now, 1 extra would make 6, but he's a great-grandchild. Never call me, have me blocked. I can't write them, I can't email them, I can't call them. They will not talk to me, and my son threatens to put me in jail, put a PFA out against me, but he really can't because I'm a minister of Christ, and I live that way, and I think that way. I'm an ex-love is everything hippie from the late 60s and early 70s, okay? And I build upon that my faith on Christ. It's just my personality. I don't beat people up. My ex-wife will tell you how I abused her. Well, I didn't. But now my son will even do it. And there's reasons, but for me to explain why my ex and my 46-year-old son now will put the mouth on me, or used to, is to pull their pants down in public. I won't shame them. But it's simply gaslighting. But that's not the point. See, I'm already defending myself. It's been painful. But I lost the whole family. And my grandchildren, 3 of them that were close by, I helped to a small degree raise. They didn't live here except for weekends. They would live here at weekends, and sometimes for maybe 5 days, because I'm near Pittsburgh, and they lived growing up after my daughter died. They were taken, and I'm glad. And to his favor, his credit, he took the 3 orphans from my deceased daughter and tried his best to raise them. And so I would get them on weekends often, and maybe during the summer when they weren't in school, I'd have them a little longer. And boy, just the time's rolling by. I have to do this. I'm going to have to do this in segments. But anyway, Satan has won the battle with my family. However, I got 2 grandkids that are up in Wilkesboro, Pennsylvania. Now that's a 3 or 4 hour drive from where I'm at. And you have to go through the Alleghenies, so you're going through the mountains. You better go in good weather, You go in winter weather like I am, being this middle of February, you may not get off the Alleghenies in one piece because of the roads and snow and much more snow. But I'm not welcome there anyway. My phone is blocked. My emails are blocked. I've actually written a letter. Why? Because I've been gaslighted for decades by my own son and, of course, my ex-wife. My daughter loved the heck out of me. My son loves me, but he's covering up with gaslighting for some shameful things that I won't tell him it's shameful. When I learned about certain things, I wanted to bring it to him, but he wouldn't even let me get it out. He condemned and ostracized me on the spot, and it only got worse. Enough of that. But my whole family has a situation. I've been defeated because I've lost my family. Here I am, a good Christian man and a good man, and I love love. I understand love. My problem is sometimes I love people too much, and that's certain. And if you're my friend, I'll stand with you with muscle and fortune if I have to. Okay? And to help you out. And then after, or if you betray me, I'll separate from you, but I'll still love you. And I have a couple men that betrayed me, and I actually discipled them and known them for most of my life. And people betray other people. If you ever see this one here, Mr. Well, it's funny, both names start with a T. But if you ever see this, one certainly probably will. Of course, I'm making so many, it's easy to miss one. Yeah, I still love you, man. I don't care. I don't care what you did in the past, but you're still afraid of me, it seems. And you're working against Christ in my ministry by mocking me or dismissing me or relegating me to a character. You're hurting the cause of Christ. So it's not me you're hurting, it's your Lord, our Lord. Bet you didn't think of that, huh? No. But I'll see you in heaven. We'll have a jolly good time, and I won't remember any of this. And if I do, I'll give less of a flying jump than I do now. Back on the Illuminati. Ta-da! The complication of this world. We've got a genius trickster and liar, father of lies, and Lucifer, with an intellect that I don't know, it does dwarf my intellect, Einstein's intellect, and mankind's intellect. And I won't take the fact away that Lucifer and the other angels have got some super intellects. And we can't fight these people. And yes, they're persons. We can't fight these people. The demons, well, even if they started off in life as the dullards, they've been around for who knows how long. The theology of a demon is that they were Nephilim. Genesis 6, chapter 6, verses 1 through 4. Okay? And Nephilim translates into giants. And I wish they would have put it in parentheses, Nephilim in Genesis 6, 1 through 4. In parentheses, put in the word Nephilim next to the word giant that they've chosen, which throws us off. The Nephilim is when angels, I believe 200 of them, called watcher angels, which gives you a clue what their job was, like a guardian angel, to keep and report back to headquarters, and had a good bit of what's going on earth. Like God didn't need it. God's keeping all of his creatures busy. We're all made to do something, and if we're not doing it, we're not happy. But then most of us can say, whatever job we have, if we don't hate it, we love the fact that it gives us, it occupies us for at least so many hours out of a day. And that keeps our sanity. You go to prison, you start to go cuckoo because you're under a regiment and you have no free will, and then you got to put up with crazy, dangerous people all around you who are insane half the time. Anyway, so this is what we're up against. I have to make this part one then of the complexity of what we're up against. Well, I'm at the 20-minute mark right now, 21-minute mark, and back on point. Okay. Complication. So you got Satan, under him the physical Illuminati. How many? I don't know. 20? I think 20 is a good guess. And how many are human, fully human? I don't think any of them are fully human at that level. And if you, like me, and you've been watching the uncovering as knowledge increases through Daniel 12:4, knowledge will increase. We're seeing from the now deceased Queen Elizabeth to the, I think even the Pope, to a lot of announcers with black eyes turning totally black, like a doll's eyes or a shark's eyes. And we see, and often we'll see them turn into a reptilian eye, a slit, and go right back. Sometimes we'll see sort of scales pop in. And that's because when HD, high definition photography, was introduced, it can see through the veil. See, we're looking at things that aren't really there, that look like what we think they look like. I mean, we're seeing some nice looking girls and women doing the news, and then one eye turns into a slit and green. Turns green into a snake slit of an eye. You know, the pupil quits being round, it gets like that. You know, that's not a human eye. And we're seeing it. So they're everywhere. You know, we go to Kennywood here, let's say Disneyland. Everyone knows that. So you walk around with those thousands of people in Disneyland. I'll tell you right now, I would say at least 30% of them are not fully human. Now, do they know it or don't they know it? I think there's a certain limit of encroachment of DNA change or DNA from birth that's part of people that they just feel as human as everybody else. They can cry. Apparently, does crying mean you have a soul? See, that's another issue. We could look into that later. But when you see people cry, I'm sure that the Bushes, who I thought were wonderful years ago, when I was still naive, and God blessed me with insight through work. You know, I just didn't wake up one morning. This is a lot of research, studying, and thought. When I say insight, it's just not magically delicious, something given to me. And of course, magic is an evil word among us Christians. Magic is what the devil does. So, okay, I want to wrap this up. I'm going to go on to part 2. We've got through Satan is ahead. The Illuminati is not being human. Numbering perhaps around 20. Anonymous, just so anonymous. Moving down into the next echelon. You got Satan. You got Illuminati. You've got the next third space down is a toss-up between the Roman Catholic Church and Freemasonry. Huge, huge organizations. Freemasonry may not be that old, 200-300 years old, but the Roman Church goes back 2,000 years almost, and that's going to be part of my number 17 video coming up today. So I'm going, you know what, and God has blessed me. I haven't coughed once, I don't think. Time is 26 minutes. God bless you. Remember to love God. That's the first commandment. With your whole heart, your whole mind, and your whole soul, and He will reward you, and He will grow that love. We all don't start out with God with agape love, which is the highest level of love, form of love. Okay, but that is our goal. Even in these bodies, it's our goal to love God like that. Can we reach agape for the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit? I think I'm getting there. So I'll say yes right now. And the closer in love I get with God, the triune God, I get giggly happy. I really do. I'm cracking, making jokes, and I think that's part and parcel, as because we're getting closer to our true heart, who is the Lord Almighty. In Christ's name, I hope this helps and you're kept safe. And I'll be filling this in a moment, just a few, maybe an hour. I'll give you more of the complication of the wheel that we call this world of lies. See ya.